Let's go.
Can you hear me? We good? Okay. Okay, good. Right. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so the thing about this vibe coding, if you don't really know anything about code, is that it can take you down a rabbit hole and you can spend a lot of time copying and pasting blindly, trying to get things to work. So the idea behind this is that we give it a little bit more context, a little bit more help, to try and rectify some of that situation. So the solution really is 3 layers of context, and the first one is the Claude MD file. So when you set Claude Code up, what you want to do is you want to give it a brief. What is it you're building? What should it not do? What should it do, instead? And any gotchas, So you learn these. So as you start building more and more of these things, you learn about what works and what doesn't work. And then you can also, if you don't know where to start, you can also ask the AI to provide that for you as well. And in fact, in the demo, I will actually ask it to provide me a Claude MD file. So that's the first thing that you want to look at. The next thing is the Context7, and this is an MCP server. So I don't know if any of you saw my recent presentation at Innovate Build, but I was using MCP in Revit there, which basically used, let's say I control Revit. And this MCP server, Context7, what it does is it allows Claude to have access to the latest documentation for different Revit versions you're developing for. And then the third thing here is the agents. And the issue with AI at the moment is that there's a context window. I think it's like 200,000 tokens or something like that in Claude at the moment. But what happens is it fills up. So what you want to do is you want to build agents, and agents are specialized workers that know certain things, right? They're really honed on skills to do a particular task, right? So in this example, we'll build an agent that is very good at Python, because obviously pyRevit runs off of Iron Python, and that agent is specialized in Python. So when I ask it to build a tool, it will then run the agent to then perform that task. You could build other agents for packaging software. You could build agents for code reviews. There's a lot of different ways of doing this, but for the demo, we'll just be doing one agent. So as I was saying, the Claude MD is the instruction manual. You're just putting in common things that go wrong. And again, you can use AI to build those. Context7 is the live on-demand documentation, which you've got access to. And then we've got the agents, which are the specialist team members. So I've also got an agent in this example that builds icons. So what it does is it connects to phosphor icons. I think I've got about 7,000 icons on there. It's always a nightmare with icons in Revit. I never know which one to pick. So I've gone with phosphor in this. It does take a little bit longer to build these with the agents on, but yeah. So we've got a pyRevit developer, we've got an icon generator, and then we've got a code reviewer. Okay, and they all work as a team. So there's an overall manager agent, which is Claude Code itself, which puts each one to work. So let's give it a go and build a toolbar. So we're going to build 3 tools. We're going to use 1 prompt each, and we're not going to code any of it manually. Dangerous stuff. We're going to do it without context first to see how this behaves. Interestingly enough, for these new models, I did this the other day with the new Opus one, and it worked first time. So it might not be a very good demonstration, but what I'll do is I'll switch the model back to Sonnet to see how we get on. Right, let's come out of this. So I have prepared some prompts and stuff because I don't want to be typing all this stuff out live. This can bore you to tears. So on the desktop, I have an LRUG folder, and I'll double click into this. And what we'll do is I'm a bit old school, by the way, right? You can use Claude Code in Visual VS Code, and it's actually really nice to see. It's a bit nicer UI. But I tend to like developing in the command line. I don't know why. It's my thing. I like seeing this sort of this window here. So to start Claude, we can just start it by typing in Claude. So what I'm doing is hopefully the Wi-Fi won't let me down. Oh, and by the way, if anyone's interested in this, I've got 3 one-week passes to this to give away at the end. So if you want to have a go, let me know, and you can have one of my passes to play around with it. Yeah, so at the moment we're in the right folder. So we've got a couple of slash commands in this. So the first one is I'm going to show you is MCP. So if you type MCP in, this will tell me if I've got any model context protocol servers attached, right? So I was talking earlier about Context7, which has got like all the documentation for the Revit API. I've disabled it for this demo because I want to show you how this doesn't work, and then we'll re-enable it after. So I'll press escape out of this. To switch the model, you can use the slash and then model command, and then press enter. And you can see these are the different models. So this is what messed me up a little bit yesterday. Is I upgraded, and now we've got like Opus Sonnet, which is the 4.6. We've got Haiku there as well, and there's a default one. Now I won't leave it on Opus because it will absolutely burn through my credits. So we'll stick with Sonnet for this. Okay, a couple of other things that you need to know is there is also a clear. So when the context window fills up, you want to use the clear command to clear it out. I won't run that yet. So let's just scaffold this quickly. Right, so I'll just go here. What we're going to do, in fact, I should open Revit as well. Just open Revit 26 while I'm talking about this. So with pyRevit, what you need to build is an extension folder. So I'm going to get this to actually build that structure for me first, so that we've got the folders in the right place, and then I can just click it. There won't be any icons appearing in it, so it might be a bit bland, but let's see if I can get this open. It takes an awfully long time to open. Let's get the prompt while we're waiting. Okay, so this is building without the context. So let's copy that prompt there. And did I not open it, or am I just patient enough? I should have opened this before I started. I think it will come. It's I'm just not being patient enough. We just have to wait. So yeah, I won't close Revit, and this is the nice thing about this actually, because when you're developing for pyRevit, you actually don't have to close Revit down. You can leave it open, and then what you can do is you can just reload the toolbar, right? So in a second, when we get into it, oh no, 2 sessions of Revit. Someone should make a tool for that. Stop that from happening. Let's see. Should have left this open. Oh. Yeah, having opening 2 sessions of Revit on the dodgy Wi-Fi network is probably not the best way to go. So I'm just checking that the microphone's on. Okay. Right, sorry about that. I should have opened that beforehand. So I've just got this model which I was working on the other week. I did in the demo when I was connecting the AI up to it. So let's open that. I've put the latest version of pyRevit on this as well. So up on the top here, we've got the pyRevit toolbar. And I don't know how many of you actually use pyRevit, but it's a pretty good program actually. It's got loads of cool stuff in there. If you're building stuff yourself, what you can also do is you can hold the Alt key and you can click on tools. And what that will do is that will open up the actual folder location to where that Python script is. And then what you can do is you can double click on the Python script to actually look at it and see, or you can feed it into AI to build. So what we're going to do, first off the bat, is we're going to get this to build the scaffold for the. So create a pyRevit extension folder in this output folder using the Automate Labs extension. So I'll just paste that in here and hope that that goes off and does its magic. And while we're waiting for that, I'll just copy this one as well. So the first tool is write a pyRevit push button that finds all of the rooms in the model, gets their name, number, area, department, and level, and exports them to CSV on the desktop, right? So it's just like a little report on the rooms and stuff in the model. And you could ask it to do anything really, just as an example, right? So let's see how we're getting on with this. So the thing with Claude Code is that it's quite good actually at asking you before it goes off and does stuff, right? So a lot of the time you've got to keep an eye on it, and I'll have to keep an eye on this because I don't want to waste any more time. So it says it's created it. So let's have a little look in the folder. So we've got an output folder, we've got an Automate Labs extension, we've got a tab, and there's nothing in it at the moment, right? So it's just scaffolded the project for us, right? And what we're doing is we're building a tab, an extra tab in here, right, for our own tools which we're about to build. So let's paste in the next prompt. So write a pyRevit push button that finds all the place rooms in the model, gets a name, number, area, department, and creates a CSV file on the desktop. So let's hit enter on that, and it will go and work its magic. What I might do is I might skip one tool just so that we don't have to wait too long, because I don't want to like take everyone's time up. Sometimes it's also worth, when it's doing this as well, keep an eye on it, right? Because sometimes you might see it's doing something and you don't want it to do that. So you can hit escape and say, no, don't do that. Because earlier on when I was doing this, it was going off and searching all over the computer. And I was like, no, I don't want to be doing that. And this is the difference between Claude Code and doing it in ChatGPT, right? Claude Code has got like access to the computer, to the system, right? Whereas ChatGPT, and there is actually OpenAI, I've got a thing called Codex, it's really good as well. I've used that, but Claude's just slightly got it for me. It's quite good. The models are really good. So it's doing a web search at the moment. It's trying to look up certain things about the API. You can do Control O, and then you can have a little look and see what it's actually doing. Okay, let's do Control O. Just keep waiting for it. So it shouldn't take too long, because when I tested it, it only took a few seconds. So, so I've got, actually, it's worth mentioning, can't see it, but down the bottom here, I've got this status bar. So that's another command in Claude Code. What you can do is you can get it to show the model that you're currently working with. You can get it to show your current context window. So obviously when the bars get up to here, then you might be in trouble because it starts forgetting about what you asked it. So if you're working on a big project, you know, the context window fills up, and that's where the agents come in and try to take over a little bit. So let's have a look. Is it going to do it? We're seeing all my tokens being burnt through. Mr. Anthropic is very happy at the moment. He's sitting on all that money. Let's see. Okay, so it started to build the tools. So we've got a script, started on the script. It's a price you have to pay for the magic to happen. So it's creating the Python scripts. It's creating a bundle as well. So it says it's done it. So let's give it a go and see what happens. So we'll go to the pyRevit settings. I think I've already got path in there, but I'll click on add folder anyway. So this is, by the way, if you're building pyRevit tools, what you want to do is go to these settings here, click on add folder, and you're looking for the folder that contains the extension file, not the actual. So don't go into that. This is the level up. So we'll do select folder. Let's save settings and reload. Okay, so in a second, it's always faster when you do it in testing, isn't it? In a second, we should see this Automate Labs tab. And on the left-hand side, we've got a tool. But if I click it, what's it going to do? Okay, it worked. So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Now, what's interesting is obviously that one worked first time. Let's give it another go with something, try a different prompt and maybe shut that down. So sometimes what you'll experience is this. You'll see these sort of these warnings, and what it's telling you is that there's no objects that exists under that attribute, right? And that's because it doesn't understand the context of what you're trying to build, right? And I've not been very fair to it, to be honest. I've just given it an empty folder with no sort of prompts or anything apart from just build me a tool, using this. So let's try a different one. Let's try this one. I don't know how long these are going to take, but so actually I won't do that one. Let me clear that. I'll do the warnings one, because warnings are something that I tend to deal with quite a lot for some reason. Right, let's go here. So yeah, it's showing me at the bottom here as well that we've got these three passes. I've only got 3 of them, so if there's a bundle at the end, we might have to draw straws to get some. Okay, see what it does. So it's interesting because this model, obviously it's only just been released, and I can see that it's actually trying to look up the Revit API, whereas with Sonnet 2.5, it may not have done that. It may have just not bothered doing that step and then just assumed all these different things. So maybe that's why that tool worked first time around, but let's have a look. So it's looking at the Revit API doc. And again, with the MCP server that I'll show you, this Context7, this is a website that basically has the API in Markdown format for a lot of different tools, right? So I've gone and typed in Revit here. So you can even see it's got the pyRevit API as well. What this does, this site, is it provides access to the AI models in a format that they can read easily. So rather than scraping web pages to try and pull the data and the information back, it's all here. But the idea behind it is that this was meant to sort of work without that to demonstrate a point. But let's have a look. So I think it's probably a couple of minutes per tool to do. And also, the thing with vibe coding is it's pretty dangerous, like not even looking at the code. And to be honest, like I've learned an awful lot actually going in and looking at it and asking it, like, why is that there? Or what have you done there? Because before I didn't know anything about Git, didn't know not a clue about Git. But now I know how it works. I know that all my projects, when I set them up, I'm going to do a Git repo. I'm going to push the code into it. Looking at changes and stuff like that. So you really want to, if you're going to go down this route, it's really important, I think, to try and learn from it a little bit as well, because just sort of blindly copying and pasting things in and hoping that they work, that's where it gets dangerous, actually. And of course, also I must mention that I would never in a million years do this on a live model without really, really testing it and probably having someone actually look at it. So let's have a look now at export warnings. And again, so it works. But the point is that, these things, sometimes you'll do this and it won't work. So let's have a look and see. In fact, I shouldn't have closed Revit. Why did I do that? Let me try and open Revit again. Right, let's have a look and see how to set the other stuff up. So the first thing is connecting Context7. So to add Context7 to Claude, you can run this command here. I've already got it added, and I'm not going to try and mess about with it. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to go in and re-enable it. So to re-enable it, we'll use MCP. We'll just click on Enter to confirm, and I'll just enable it there. So that's just re-enabled it. Okay, so Context7 is now enabled. So now it should have access to the API documentation up here. The next thing we're going to do is create the Claude MD file, which is like the rules for this project. So write a Claude MD file. This is for an empty pyRevit extension project. And I'm telling it in this prompt as well what version of Revit to target. So I'm telling it I want it to do it in 2026 because obviously there's API changes and you get caught out by stuff like that. We use Python 2.7, no F strings, no type hints, no pathlib. Use the element ID value, and this is all just from basically running these things through over the years and then seeing that they don't work. And normally these F strings actually they cause a lot of problems when you're building stuff like this. So it's quite a long prompt, this one. So I'm just going to grab it and I'll just put it into just escape, put that in there. Okay, so this will create a nice little Claude MD file. Let's go to LRUG. So we don't have it yet. While we're waiting, it does take an awful long time to open, doesn't it? Okay, so it's written the MD file, and that's got all of our stuff in. And again, with this, once you get one of these built, you can just reuse it on other projects. So you just keep going with it. And it's also quite good practice as well. Like you're telling it, I'm in this file, I'm telling it, you've got to develop this for 2026. You've got to use IronPython, and you've also got access to these MCP servers as well. So you can also tell it that every time I place an error in, just remember it. Just remember what I pasted in, because then it learns as you're going along. So what the idea behind it is, you're trying to build up a knowledge base behind this thing as well. So we've got our Claude MD file. Let's create an agent. So the agent itself is a pyRevit developer. It's going to live in here. So what this is a pyRevit tool developer specialising in IronPython scripting for Autodesk Revit. Let's move this over. And again, I've given the agent some context. I've said to it like no F strings. We're using IronPython 2.7. Just things to watch out for, basically, just to try and give me the best results, obviously, for the demo. And then we'll find that when I build this tool, it doesn't work. But anyway, so we'll copy that and we'll paste this in here. And again, this will go off and create the agent. Now, there may already be an agent in this setup, and maybe that's why it works this time. Who knows? So actually, interestingly, there wasn't an agent in this setup, because what it's done is it's actually creating the agent itself in the Claude folder. So here we've got an agent. Okay, great. So we've got Context7, we've got a Claude MD, we've got an agent, right? So we've got quite a lot of different things there now that it's ready to do. The only other thing that I may do, this could be dangerous, but let's try it anyway, is I'm just going to copy. No, I'm just going to copy this tool in, which is a script that generates the icons, but who knows? It may work, it may not. Let's go here. So just to save a bit of time, I've just copied the scripts I made earlier, like Blue Peter, and basically that's going to hopefully create the icons as well. So I think what I'll do, let's just open this. I'm going to delete the other tools actually. Okay. I'll just delete these tools in here. So they're gone. Let's go back to here. And again, these are the same prompts I just ran earlier. So this time I've added on the end of it, generate an icon and use the pyRevit developer, the agent we've just built, and also use Context7. Again, I'll keep repeating it to the model. It's just to get the best outcome. So let's see what that does. So I won't build all of the tools because there's a time. But let's see. So you can see it's fired up the pyRevit developer. You can see here. Now what it's doing is looking up the documentation. It's writing the script. It's writing the bundle. It's also using my skill. I haven't mentioned skills, but Claude's got this amazing feature called skills, right? And if you use them on certain projects, you notice the difference immensely. Like, I was developing some web pages and it was all purple, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And I put the skill into it and told it what I wanted, and it came out, pretty much first time. Works really well. So the skills are another component to this as well. Right, I'll just keep prompting this to go through. Come on. So we should get a nice looking icon at the end of this. Okay. So unfortunately, the icon generator skill is the one that takes a little bit of time. I'm just going to leave that running because what I'd also like to just cover a little bit is where is it? Is something after this, but so obviously there's a lot of copying and pasting, a lot of going backwards and forwards. What if you needed 20 tools rather than just 3 of them? Well, there's a thing that's come out, and again, it's a skill called Ralph Wiggum. And basically it's an infinite loop. But what you can do is you can tell it how many iterations you want for it to pass through, and it will keep going until it hits the promise. So you've basically got like a secret word almost that you can finish when you hear this secret word, but you've got to do 20 iterations of it. So I don't know if this is going to work, but what we can try and do is build a whole set of tools on Toolbar using just one prompt, and hopefully it will be successful. But let me just keep doing this. Hold on, it's got to keep moving. This is the icon generation. I'm hoping that once it's done one icon, it might sort of free it up a little bit. There is a way to sort of override the auto accept, but I just never trust it that much to let it have full access to my system. So what's going on there? It's like deleted the Windows folder. And it's funny because I think obviously they developed this on Linux or something because it keeps trying to run Linux commands, and obviously that's another thing which you really want to put in the Claude ND, is you want to tell it that you're on a Windows operating system, you tell it what version you're running, because otherwise it burns through your tokens. You could go off down a real rabbit hole with it, and then find that it's tried to develop it for a Mac. Okay, let's have a look in the folder. So we don't have any tools yet. The other thing that you can do, and I don't think I'm brave enough to do this actually right now, but is you can have multiple terminals. So you can have multiple sort of sessions of it running. And if you're working on something, obviously just making sure that it doesn't like work on the same code as the other agent. That's quite an important point to make as well. Okay. Okay, I think we're there, nearly there. 3 minutes and 54 seconds, which is the longest 3 minutes of my life. Let's go in here. Have we got an right? We've got an icon. It doesn't look very good. I think there's probably something wrong with the actual agent that generates that, but it's attempted to do something. I don't even know what that is. But I have had quite good success with this actually. I've built some good icons, just not today. So yeah, it's gone off and done its thing. Let's see if it works. So let's go back here. Let's go to reload. And again, I'm being a bit dangerous because I'm just like I'm blindly clicking on these things without actually even looking at the code. So there we go. VS Code is a good one to run this through as well. Because obviously when you're looking at stuff in the terminal, it's copying and pasting images in. Like I've had issues, when you're doing snipping tool, stuff like that. You have to use Alt and V to paste images in from that. Whereas if you're doing it in the code, VS Code, it's a bit better to work with. Right. So there's our horrible icon. So this will export all of the rooms to a CSV file on my desktop. Lovely. Let's see if it works. Okay, so looks like it's working. Again, it works without all of this stuff, but I have played with this a little bit, and that should work. So let's see what we've got. Okay, nothing that interesting, but it's taken the level, the number, the name, square footage, and the department, right? So let's go out on a bang, and let's see if we can get this thing running, right? So with Ralph, I had an absolute nightmare with this morning. They changed all of the commands and stuff, right? But there is a GitHub repo, which is where is it? This one. This one, I think. No, not that one. I don't know. Oh no, this one. Sorry. Yeah, so it's this one, which is the Ralph Wiggum Windows edition, and you need to make sure you got that running because the Anthropic one it doesn't work on a Windows box. So anyway, I'll put that in the chat or whatever later on. But so let's go back to here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this command here, which is the Ralph loop. Build 6 pyRevit purge tools inside a pull-down menu. And then I'm just telling it what I want each one to do. And at the end, I'm saying I want 10 iterations and the completion promise is at the end of it, right? So let's put this in here. Let's just do that. Keep your fingers crossed. Should work, but we'll see. Does anyone have any questions while we're waiting for this? Because then that will speed it up, or shall I wait until the end?
How much are the tokens?
Yeah, good question there. So you can do this on the £20 a month plan, but once you start getting into it, it's not enough. You probably need to be on like the max, which is I think 5 times usage, £90 a month. So to give you an idea, I'm on the £90 a month plan, and I run out of credits. So I top it up with another £90. So it's expensive. So it's it's at the moment it's pretty amazing what it does, but it comes at quite a big cost, really. And as I say, like there's other models. You can try changing the models. It's better to actually try and use the right model for the job. So a lot of this I did with Sonnet and 4.6. I don't really know enough about Sonnet 4.6. Can't tell you how much it costs or all of that, but I know that Haiku is probably better for doing this sort of thing. So yeah, it can get quite expensive, especially if you're doing like image generation stuff as well, right? You know, everyone's paying for Midjourney, ChatGPT, Gemini. So we've got this generating the icons again. So I've told it in this prompt to use the same icon, right? Because I made that mistake the other day, and it was trying to generate 6 icons for me, and I don't really want to do that. So it'll be interesting to see what comes up.
Questions in the meantime. Is the chat BBC we're that was very secure, there's a location all the stuff like this stuff.
Yeah, so it does have an enterprise tier as well. I mean, the thing with all of these, when I haven't shown you the settings actually, but you've got to make sure it's not the training's turned off. I wouldn't put anything in it that is sensitive. Like, just don't do it. And again, like a lot of the time, I wouldn't run this at work. I'll do it on my home PC. Just because you never know with these things. You know, it's a bit of a minefield. I say they don't use it for training. I mean, actually, I was playing around with it the other day, and I realised somehow that it was turned on to use all my sessions for training. I was like, what? How did that happen? So just be careful, be wary, I think is the thing. You know, it's an amazing piece of technology, but if you don't know how to set it up, or you know you're not that familiar with it, it can be quite dangerous. So it looks like it's doing it in reverse order. It's still trying to do these. I haven't got I've got enough context window as well. What I should have maybe have done is prompted it without the icons. So the other thing that you can do as well is you can take some of the existing pyRevit scripts, and I don't know if you guys know this, but there's quite a lot of scripts and stuff under the extensions. So you can, there's some really good ones under there. Eric Fritz has got a good one, set of tools under there. There's some warning management stuff as well. So you can load those ones in. And then if you want to enhance them or sort of try and, you know, add additional tools to them, you could actually use those as a base point, as a starting point for building extra ones. So we've got 2 out of the 6. Let's have a look. Unplaced rooms and unplaced areas. Let's have a look. Don't want to reload it yet because I'm just worried that it's going to cause me aggro. We'll just have to be a little bit patient and see what it does. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can show you with this actually. So the one of the things I'm actually going to do as well, I'm going to actually build a whole set of tools for Revit. Just little quick wins, you know, stuff that makes it a little bit easier. And then what I'll do is I'll put that on GitHub for free. So that'll be up there, and then you can fault that and use those and carry on with them. So it says it's done it. Apparently it's percolating. 4 minutes and 50 seconds. So just wait for it because let's see what icon we've got actually. It'd be interesting to see what it's come up with this time. The cleanup panel. So it's a good start. What we got? Hey, it's not bad, you know. It's better than that other thing. I'll take it. Yeah, that's all right. And again, like you could be a bit more descriptive about that, but it says it's done. Let's reload it. So with that Ralph Wiggum plugin, I didn't have to could have just one-shotted it and told it to do it anyway without it. But the idea behind Ralph Wiggum is that you're on a bigger project, you can let it run, go to bed, wake up in the morning, and then it's magically produced the whole pyRevit toolbar for you. Whether that actually works or not, I'll let you know because I haven't done it yet. So automate labs, purge. Let's put some rooms down just to make sure it works. And again, feeling brave. Just delete that. Let's purge this. Purge unplaced rooms. What's it going to do? So it's found one unplaced room. Do you want to delete them? Yes. Matt probably won't be very happy with this one, but can get rid of all the unused materials out of the project. So purge unused materials. Again, there's 140. I don't think there's that many in there, but who knows? Let's actually just confirm that. In fact, I won't be that brave. What I'll do is, let me just see. There should be a view templates one, right? And I think this has got 13. Yeah, this has got 13 in. So again, like it's quite quick because what you can do with this technology now, and I think this is absolutely fantastic, right? Is that you can have an idea in your head and you can quite quickly prototype it, right? I'm not saying it's secure. I'm not saying it's the best way of doing it, but you can get it done. And it's quite an amazing time to be alive because I had all these books years and years ago on Python, and VBA, and C#, JavaScript, like these massive, massive books like that, whole bookshelf full of them. I'd probably get past the index and then like I'll never look at it again. And now with these things, you know, they've got all that knowledge and all that information within them. So, so yeah, I think it's a really interesting way of approaching it, and you know, it's a good time to play around with some of this stuff. And if you've got stuff that you're doing in Revit that's quite, you know, monotonous, and you know, you think, oh, I can make a tool for that, and this is a really good way of approaching it. So yeah, that's all I had to show. I don't know if anyone's got any more questions.
I'll start with the first one. Apologies, I should be looking anymore. Seeing your scope, but did you use scope items?
Yeah, I did actually. I used Codex within VS Code, and it's really good. It's another good model. But for me, there's something about Claude. It's just overly happy. It's like, yeah, I'd love to do that for you. I'd love to go and create an absolute mess. Or you know, or build you a horrible icon. It does it in a nice way. Whereas Codex feels a little bit too, I don't know. I get on better with the. It just sounds weird, like it's actually a person. But yeah, I just feel like the results I've had, for me, the Anthropic models seem to get it. Yeah, and as I say, like Codex is available in VS Code. So this is VS Code. I didn't show anyone this. And actually, if you're starting out and you're trying to build stuff like this, it's probably better to use this rather than the terminal. It's a bit old school, like I was showing you. But yeah, you install the extensions, and I don't think I've got Codex installed on this box because I've borrowed this laptop. But yeah, it works just as well. And in fact, actually, there was one point where I was trying to do something, and I was using both, which is a bit nuts. Oh, one thing I should say actually. If you're getting into this as well, right? First thing you want to do is set a GitHub repo up, right? Get on GitHub, create a new repo, right? Call it LRUG, right? I've already got it. Let's call it LRUG A, whatever, right? So create an LRUG A. Under here, you probably want to set it to private if it's something personal you're working on, right? Most of mine are, but I can set this one to public. I've got no problem with that. What we'll do is create the repository, right? So that creates like a container on the Git site. I can grab that link and I can just ask it. I can say to it, look, initialize this repository and push it up there, because there's nothing worse than spending ages and ages building something and then it bloody crashes, or like it deletes everything that you've just been working on. Like I asked it the other day, I said, can you move these files into a different folder? And it didn't do like a copy paste. It literally deleted them. And I was like, well, why did you do that? And of course, everything I'd done to that point, I'd lost because I hadn't pushed it up to the Git repo. So that's another thing that I would recommend if you're building stuff like this. I would.
And then I'll say sorry.
It apologised profusely, and then I gave it some more money, and here we are. So, but yeah, there's a prompt there as well, which is like stage all the files, commit it to Git, and use my email address to do it with. So let's just we did the Ralph in action. So function F11. Yeah, so basically making sure you're giving it the context. The three things I showed, there's also the fourth one, which is skills, and then the agents as well, which specialize in certain things. And then you can use autonomous loops. I mean, it's pretty cool, but I don't know if I like the thought of this thing whirring away while I'm asleep. God knows what I'll end up with. Okay, excellent.
So there will be not just me asking questions, I've done my questioning. Anybody else, please?
I think
Hi.
should go successfully. Which one's going around best? So where do you see this moment actually valuable today and where?
Yeah, it's interesting because they are getting better. Like every day, every model that comes out, it's like previously, it would have taken a lot of time to like if you didn't know what you were doing as well. There's an element of like understanding how the code works, what you've got to look out for. But nowadays, like the stuff, this Opus model is pretty knockout, and it's quite capable. You can pretty much do anything. It is really good, but it's not like I'm just building very small pyRevit tools here. But if you wanted to build something bigger, it takes a long time. It's not like something that you're going to do in a night. It's going to be something that's going to be 6 months, maybe even a year, to try and get out. So it's an interesting sort of thing. But in the future, I mean, I feel like I'm living in the future already with this stuff, because you could never do never dreamed of being able to do any of that. I was saying earlier, I bought Eric's Python course, and I've only watched half of it. Sorry, Eric, if you're listening. But now, like, do I need to watch the rest of it? Because this thing can sort of do most of the tasks that I want it to do. So it's really interesting.
So follow. Are you giving access to the whole Revit API? Or
Yeah.
you saying this?
Yeah, so it should with the Context7 stuff, it should actually give it access. Well, it gives it access to Revit API docs as well. So there's a number of different websites, and what this is, this site is it scraped all of that information and then it's put it into Markdown format so that the AI can read it a bit easier. So when you provide it with the MCP model context protocol access, it uses this. Yeah. And the MCP stuff, I mean, I did the demo on it a couple of weeks ago, and it's really interesting because it gives the AI full control over the software, and it can almost do like anything really. I mean, if you have to give it the tools, so you have to come up with ideas. I mean, I've been doing loads of stupid stuff on LinkedIn with like Nicolas Cage and stuff like that. But yeah, it depends what you give it really. Has anyone got any other questions?
There we go. That is 3 passes that you.
Oh yeah. Anyone want a free pass?
Start the auction. Okay. Round first.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody else? It's pass.
Yeah. Go on then.
Okay. One more left.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Do you want to give me? I think if you give me your email addresses, I can sort you out. Yeah. No problem. Yes, certainly.
How do you manage the quality process?
How do you manage the quality process?
People, like in Europe, we have, like around 2,000 people, and like if we give access to multiple disciplines, people developing
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It needs, I mean, in a business scenario, yeah, it needs to. You need to keep probably a bit of a lid on it, and it needs to probably be done in a certain way. And in fact, it's probably worthwhile setting up Claude MD files, special agents that can be shared, and skills. Because if you get those skills, then everyone's using the same thing, then, right? Whereas if you just open it up like I did in the start and just start asking it to do stuff, that's where the danger could come in, because you're going to get inconsistency. So I think having the things pre-configured and set up in a certain way that's going to achieve the outcome for the business you're working in is a good way to go. Actually, it's, if you're going to use this for development, for internal, for your business, I would probably start with writing a Claude MD file, working out what agents would suit, and then getting those skills built, because the skills make a hell of a difference. They're really good.
Any more questions?